Steve Williams.
I think I turned it off. No, I didn't. Look at that. Look at all of you, even on the stairs. Well, I was going to bring a poem about balls. But that's been done. This is an ocean poem. I figured if we stay here long enough, the sun will set. So, anyway. A reuniting. It is the knife edge of Halloween, and you will leave tomorrow. The chill of this coast invades your joints like mold, fills your lungs with moss. Your suitcase sways on the porch swing. Even the house seems to list, as if it were built of driftwood instead of deadwood. We have a daughter in college and a mortgage. Your body can no longer work. All night I hold you like dead leaves in my fists until the moon gives up on the last breath of yesterday, held in my lungs. You say your return is as reliable as the wood ducks who raise their babies every year in the pond grasses across the driveway. You take 10 minutes to get out of bed. Pause. Convince your joints you can walk. I ask for one more day. You shake your head. I help you down to the bay. The day is unseasonably clear, almost tropical. You perch on a log, unclench in the heat. The low tide has left a plain of wet sand and derelict trees. I begin to build something in the hope of filling myself. First a Tighe deck of driftwood, then circular walls piled higher that suddenly tumble down in a hollow rumble. I build again, learn the tolerance for wood, for staying in place. Finish an igloo of ribs and fingers as the horizon harvests a pumpkin sun. I turn and you have crawled up a tangle of branches and trunks, chasing the light upward from a darkened shore, your arms sunning out, as if you want this brittle wood to find buds and leaves. Soon my dome drifts out on the evening tide, keeps itself intact as it twists. The sunburned Pacific promises to set it on fire. I feel the breaking waves at the bay's mouth, in my legs, my ribs, my teeth, as they splinter this home I cannot live in. And now my other half. M. Oh, you want this down? No.
He always leaves it out for me, so I'm usually I'm going to take us all back to September 2001, but from a slightly different angle. The poem is called You. Her. You are in your own bed with the TV on when the towers fall. Twin defensive ends gone to hell. This bed that you've rarely left in the last 5 months. A bed like those defective drains at the bottom of the swimming pools that grip a piece of ass, thigh, arm, and hold them there below until the person they belong to drowns. You are also in this bed, in the days of the aftermath, eyes forced open, retinas assaulted by image after flickering flick image, until your eyes rest on her. Her, a widow like you, holding up a picture of a husband for anyone who will take the time to look. A picture alive, well, blonde hair slicked into a perfection of place by a plastic comb. Every feature in horizontal order, except for a slightly crooked upward tilt of smile in the left-hand corner of his mouth. There's an entire country's worth of width between you both, but still you want to love her. This woman who has lost, as you have lost, whose husband was involuntarily inducted into death before he finished his bagel, whose peace of mind was sucked with military precision into a war zone. A woman who asks little, who only wants his body back. But you don't love. You hate her. Where was she on the morning of April 2nd? Standing upright at her stove, cracking 2 raw eggs with one small hand into an iron frying pan. Sunny side up, TV off, blissfully oblivious to you. You, that April morning, in this bed, attempting to beat the life back into the body of your beloved with a fist folded in on itself, trying mouth to mouth with whatever was left after the screaming. Alone, with bodily proof that you failed. No camera crews, no parties of rescue, no picture to hold up to an audience of millions. And you hate yourself now for hating her naivete of what's to come. You don't understand this hate, nor know what to do with it, so you ball it up like a shit-stained bedsheet turned to 200,000 tons of steel, turned to 600,000 feet of glass, turned to 425,000 cubic yards of concrete. Surely enough weight to break a 32-inch TV screen. You drag her by the neck through the shattered. Take her into an embrace of hate, anguish, panic, confusion, fear, the weeping. And you take her picture from her. Love it as if it were your own. Thank you. I believe the next one's up is Catherine Rickbone. Thank you. This is called Just Checking. It's how a library book reminds you right before it's due, when you are about to fall asleep, your eyes snap open in the dark. A questioning grows to dread as you frantically look through the piles for the one that's called you to your feet, to put you on your slippers and robe, to turn on the lights going in search of. That's how,
When I think I'm going to call you for sibling conversation of sparring, brotherly put-downs, and laughter, I remember that you decided to check your life back before I knew you, before I pushed you in big sisterly fashion in your blue stroller toward the library, to check out books for our summer reading. The next reader is Cynthia Jacobi.
This is a memoir poem. Arrowhead Lake, Minnesota. We stopped at Olson's for ice, minnows, a couple of beers for my dad, a new adult license for me, a 16-year-old girl woman. We loaded our gear into a rented boat. He started the motor and chugged to our lucky salad bowl hole. I baited a jerking minnow onto my hook. I cast out just as he taught me. My hands felt a long, heavy tug, followed by slow bucking, which spoke the walleye language. We caught our limit. We cleaned and iced 4 silvery fish. We ate sandwiches and pickles and cupcakes. Then we headed home in thickening blue dusk. I knew he wanted to ask me about that dark-haired boy who drove slowly past our house and then squealed tires at the corner. But I turned away silent, staring at the night road. I could see distant red taillights bobbing in and out of dark birch forest.
We're on the next page. Dorothy Mack. Well, down a little.
Fine? Yeah, fine. Okay. I live oceanfront, once removed. This is called Homage to Electra. Dead center stands Electra, blocking my ocean view. 9 wires strung across the horizon. Her circuit box has 2 ears, and above 4 little horns. Extra wires form a hat with tail feathers. If you lean against her body, her pole, she buzzes ever so faintly. Alert. My guardian, my electricity, my connection to the modern world. Power I can't live without. Computer, refrigerator, stove, toaster, microwave, water heater, washer, dryer, space heater, jacuzzi, jets, answering machine, radio, lamps. I bow to you, Electra. Please stay upright in our 100-mile-an-hour winds. As your lines arc above the waves, sentinel to power and light, I light a candle for you. Pray for your safety, connection to all that is. Next is Liz Robinson.
I want to thank the ocean. I want to thank the ocean and the baby for bringing so much life to this Concord, and I'm honored to be one voice among your many voices here. The winter house. When winter shows its inhumanity to women, and weather comes, we take to our beds, inhabit the inner house, stoke the fire, preheat the baking oven, brighten the light, because women need to be warm and well lit, or we lose ourselves shivering in the dark. There's steam from green tea to help, and quilted recognition of fall's show-off patterns, and we prick our fingers stitching the final crooked Christmas star. Better to wander with more constant moons in neighborhood frosts, ears cocked, listening for those other wolves we wish would call us to their den, where we lick ourselves, each other, find companionable wounds, rough play on the trampled ground until our eyes blacken with devotion. But mornings come, earth warms, and we are women of the wild willow tribe, alive in our winter house of snow, thresholding the season, its supple habit, yearning only for leaves and the rampage of spring. We get so involved with ourselves, we forget what it's important. I wasn't going to do this. Betsy, Fogelman, Tighe?
Yeah. Okay, so,
You're modern.
I don't mean to be modern. I didn't know we were having readings, so I didn't bring anything. But I had my laptop. So, since I brought it, I'm going to redo all my poems. No, I'm just kidding. Can you hear me?
Far away, you don't need to.
Okay. I don't, okay. It's very hard to pick one poem when you're getting acquainted with people, but everybody knows that. But, okay, this does mention the water. What makes the horse race? What makes her dance out of the paddock, her silk?
Uh-oh.
It's a computer there.
It's too close to the speaker.
Okay. What makes the horse race? What makes her dance out of the paddock, her silver fetlock shaking like the bell that announces the start, and they're off! 17 hands and carrying a small burden. What makes her reach, pull back, run alongside the others, a train parallel to the highway, chugging along until just as the curve of the headland appears, she breaks loose, that train plowing straight off the sheer. She's so low, her legs stretched to an open line. Beyond a gallop, she flies, Pegasus gracing these earthly games, ahead by half a league. What does she know about winning, about the wreath of braided roses, the bucket of ice in which the champagne chills, the smile stretched so broadly it almost breaks the face of her owner like a mirror, shattering to reflect the change of circumstances. A loser, now a winner. He can drop his sorry monologue about how it's ordained. Some people always on top, others dirt, how fate had dropped him on the wrong side of the fence when he was born, and he's never seen the hasp on the winner's gate so close before as it rose majestically to swing open and admit him. She's won, or he has, but what does she know of what's changed? She knows what is still the same, her frothy flanks brushed down by the muscled hands of the waiting groom who nuzzles her nose and murmurs her praises, sneaks her an apple, watches as she sloshes up her pint of stout, walks her slowly back to the winner's circle where the roses go around her neck and the owner cradles her head in his arms. What does she know when she turns her royal head toward the camera, the glint in her dark eye like a shooting star on the edge of clouds on a moonlit night over the endless water? It would be Crystal Tayler.
Do you want to move it back? Or? Yeah. Okay. I'll probably rough it and then break it. Alright, that's fine.
I'm Paul. Okay. I don't have a title of it yet, so
if you guys have a suggestion, let me know. But here it goes. I wonder if they believe her. Words stream through her mouth, downward motion, a waterfall cascading into the room, where people sit and eat and work. The meanings of each word, water rising in the room, lost as they were dampened, the clothes of people who have drowned in her presence before. Only taking moments before the room succumbs to her lies. She would just use less of them, or not regurgitate lines that have been used to the point their seams are tired and tattered, much like the skin she has made for herself. If, a word, a dream I wish I could have, or a nightmare that would finally end, my life teeters on the if as days run by. No matter if I believe her words or not, I swim in an ocean of them, wanting for that if to come by and rescue me. Thank you. Kelly Eastwood.
I need a really short poem because I'm really nervous. Okay. Conversation by the river. Silence follows us, a shapeless shade without grace, not golden, but copper-tinged green. Words like flitting birds break through. Inhaling feels like pepper, so I hold my breath. It's come to this. We stand on the sands of said and unsaid. The surface fragile, kisses too few. Love is a haze we stumble through. Sam, Broderick, and Roxas. Sorry, I know that.
Hello everybody, I'm Sam Broderick Rojas Chua. I'm from Eugene, Oregon. Thank you. I kind of like this better than this, because if I were to stand behind this one, it would look like a Halloween costume. This is my second time here at Northwest Poets Concord, and last year it was a very inspirational attendance for me, and I invited poets to read in front of the ocean last year, and I think tonight, especially since we have this amazing moon, read something to the ocean, and the moon just might give something back to you. Never know. I'm going to read just 3 poems. My poems are really short, and someone told me one time that it takes about 5 breaths, and my poem's done, so maybe they were pretty bored or something. But I want to dedicate this to Chen Guanchen, who's the blind Chinese activist who really wants resolve in his life and for the future of China. Syria, all the deaths that's happening. And Adam Yauch, who is a singer from the Beastie Boys. He died on May 4th. And he's really very outspoken with freeing Tibet. So this is dedicated to all 3. Feed. The riot begins with one eye open. Children shake clay into pigeons. Their brothers wait, impatient. A federation of fathers, buried face down and feet folded outward, will now come back as birds, hovering. On the other side of the fence, mothers of angry fuckers throw eggs and bread, spit olive oil on each hand, and tickle deep sockets where eyes used to be. The earth inhales, knees will tremble. I was in the Philippines for the whole month of February. I went there to meet my biological mother and father and half brothers and sisters. And it's something that you don't do by yourself. You have to make sure you go with someone. When a poem can't save you, you must find your mother's pinking shears and set the backyard hammock free. You must watch the threads unfurl in front of you, one by one, and help it along. When a poem can't save you, you must break a crucifix in two and plant the upper half by the kitchen window, in hopes that some deer or swallow or swine will notice your sincerity and clear a path in the forest where you will die. When a poem can't save you, you must drink all of the winter wine you've saved in the basement, and wait, and wait, and wait. Someone holding their breath, they're counting their breath. And then the last poem is New Immigrant. It must have been the rift on the side of his head that made him able to let go of years waiting in front of doorstep after doorstep, red light after red light, mother after mother, a decade of authorization letters translated from Coptic to English to Chinese to fuck you. Maybe the bones of his skull never met at birth. In that instant, he remained open to sitting there, unmoved, even when countries lit fire to the trees. Maybe, they say, he is the new immigrant. Thank you. Linnea Harper.
All right, I cut this down so it's no more than 3 minutes, honest. This is a poem I wrote after Judith Lacey's poem to some of my recent purchases, and it's called Popsicles. Popsicles, popsicles, sweet and cold, I estimate your worth by the calculus of calories and color, the power of the pleasure shock, hydraulics of licking and sucking, numb lips, ache of jaw, brain freeze, the internalized science of melting. Like kids out of school, popsicles say, now it's winter, come and play. There will be no premature thawing in this house. Fruitsicles, fudgesicles, rockets and push-ups, blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, orange. I choose you because the Iceman no longer cometh, but still has a pension. Because between things, like the space between stanzas or generations, you need something sweet and bracing to give you a reason to stop and gather what's needed to go again. Coconut, mango, tangerine, cherry, grape, lime, mixed fruit, berry. If I never eat one again, how will I fill this void that wants to swallow me? Bring childhood's sweet mystique to the heart of each day. Escape the tyranny of mealtime. Find true love. Make angels in snow. My dears, the cold wars are over. Heat rises around the globe. We must conserve our resources. In the freezer, fill up the spaces between things with popsicles. Pack popsicles in the cooler instead of plain ice. Use crushed popsicles for a cold pack. Drop popsicles for drought relief in Africa, to distract the Taliban in Afghanistan and annoy the French wherever they are. Make slicks of popsicle slush to slip up Wall Street. Provide popsicles free to the citizenry. Let us eat popsicles. Creamsicles, Jolly Pops, diet or sugared. Store brands, dryers, homemade with Jell-O, quiescently frozen or rock hard. I eat popsicles not to satisfy hunger, but to celebrate it. A longing somewhere between hunger and thirst rises up in my throat, and my organs sing a churchly tune. And a mouth has so much to do, all that talking, smiling, chewing, and flossing. It needs a quick lift now and then.
Boxes of popsicles take me home now. In the movie version, I leave the store with a sack full of edible mercies, personal sandbags that keep the riptides at bay. Jolly Rancher, ice picks, Arctic blasters, swirl sticks, wave your wands and take me to your truth. The freezer is calling. Cubes clatter as the ice maker drops a new litter. When I open the door, it is not the cold I fear, but the emptiness.